March 11 this year, Parliament been passed into law the Counter-Terrorism Act 2024. This law, they provide for the national counter-terrorism activity, enforcement of measures of terrorism forms and other assets, for provide for offences and terrorism-related matter. Plenty concerns be done dey for sake of this bill wey Parliament pass as a House of Parliament not been dey how it can look like, as plenty members of Parliament not been dey na the well before them pass the bill for become law. The Speaker of Parliament, Honorable Senator Solomon Thomas, been asked a question to the members that were present.
They read the third time and passed into law. All those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
From the response to the question, I should say plenty members of Parliament not been there at the well, and with normal time the response can be greater than this one. From waiting happen that the well of Parliament been left journalists them confused with this all important bill where the public been get great concern for, and for no waiting they inside the bill and how then get for apply some of them laws they are na salon. The well of Parliament not been there like how it be done the day before, and plenty people be raised concern. But why members of Parliament for the ruling bench and the opposition not been debate this particular bill before they pass them to law? But before this time, the opposition be get great concern with waiting day inside the bill when at the Counter-Terrorism Act 2024. But before the Speaker asks the question whether they pass the bill to law, the opposition bench and the ruling bench been get an agreement we been make them pass the bill for become law. For Liberty Online TV, Al Hassan Kumar, the report.
Please subscribe to my new YouTube channel Don CLIN and hit the notification bell to be notified for new videos.
Yesterday, Parliament been passed the 2024 Counter-Terrorism Bill to law. Well, this now one where many people they don't get concerned, but because of certain clause them where they inside this particular bill. First, the term terrorist now one way plenty people been get concerned about. So we can look at this entire bill and the member of Parliament and they with you in the studio this morning, and we happen forget the main person when the chairman for the legislative committee when in all bill then can pass through for let them do proper scrutiny before they count them back na the well for let them go debate them and turn into law. Well, at the studio this morning, one for welcome the Honorable Abdul Mare Conte, when a member of Parliament, they represent the Salon People's Party, and also in a chairman for the Legislative Committee. Good morning, Honorable.
Good morning, Khadija.
All right, and we get Honorable Dr. Umfa G. Conte.
Sorry.
In the parliamentary spokesman for the All People's Congress APC party. Good morning, Honorable.
Good morning, Khadija. Thanks for having me. Good morning, Sierra Leone, and good morning, listeners.
All right, that's now the two studio guests them, and hopefully we'll talk to the president for the Salon Association of Journalists Large, when Ahmed Sahid Nazgala, where they been write a petition and state some of the things them way Sludge not okay with inside this bill. So they'll be send them to the legislative committee. We will know if they'll be able to look inside this position paper and they'll be able to factor some of the things them during the same way the bill been in a committee stage. But before we come to them, quickly let's watch what happened yesterday exactly in a parliament where them be the agree for this particular law.
Tuesday, March 11 this year, Parliament been passed into law the Counter-Terrorism Act 2024. This law, they provide for the national counter-terrorism activity, enforcement of measures of terrorism forms and other assets, for provide for offences and terrorism-related matter. Plenty concerns be done dey for sake of this bill where Parliament pass as a House of Parliament not been there how it can look like, as plenty members of Parliament not been there na the well before them pass the bill for become law. The Speaker of Parliament, Honorable Senator Solomon Thomas, been asked a question to the members that were present.
They read the third time and passed into law. All those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
From the response to the question, I should say plenty members of Parliament not been there at the well, and with normal time the response can be greater than this one. From waiting happen at the well of Parliament been left journalists them confused with this all important bill where the public been get great concern for, and for no waiting they inside the bill and how then get for apply some of them laws they are na salon. The well of Parliament not been there like how it been done the day before, and plenty people be raised concern. But why members of Parliament for the ruling bench and the opposition not been debate this particular bill before they pass them to law? But before this time, the opposition be get great concern with waiting day inside the bill when at the Counter-Terrorism Act 2024. But before the Speaker asks the question whether they pass the bill to law, the opposition bench and the ruling bench can get an agreement we been make them pass the bill for become law. For Liberty Online TV, Al Hassan Kumar, the report.
All right, we continue with the breakfast show. That's not exactly what happened yesterday in the Well of Parliament, where member of Parliament them been supposed for debate and look inside this particular act, where na the Counter-Terrorism Act of 2024. But according to that report, the way on a listen, it clearly shows the member of Parliament and from both the opposition and ruling are not been better inside the Well of Parliament, where this certain activists, people who don't raise concern about this bill, then get why member of Parliament then be missing na the Well of Parliament yesterday. We will just open the conversation there and we will start with the chairman for the Legislative Committee. Honorable Mary.
Thank you very much, Khadija. Again, a very good morning to viewers. What happened at Parliament yesterday is very, very, very normal. And I'm just surprised that all the reports say they expect for better debate and then they're not debater. This House will be reached yesterday not to be debate side again that much. It don't go through all the processes. One after the second reading and the debate will then round up, then commit to the Legislative Committee. So what did happen at that particular point? The Legislative Committee get the broad for scrutinize the bill, clause by clause, line by line, make additions where necessary, incorporate them into a report, and bring this report to the can read them at the plenary. And after the report, suddenly the committee of the whole house get the choice now for even adopt the report or even make an addendum to the report. So, but maybe something they would really miss out. The very first time, first of all, this report has been read in Parliament more than a month ago. You understand? And during that proceedings, when after we read the report, concerns them in come by then, you understand, from the opposition leader, you understand, and other opposition MPs, that there are certain things and they feel say missing what we need for incorporating to the report. So straight away, without any further delay, the Speaker will preside over the whole session by then, say, okay, for what close, and by the also the Attorney General Bindede, they all, the Speaker instruct, say, even myself, say, let them try for look at the aspects that we're missing, for me to try to incorporate them into the report, you understand, and then can pass them, because that was by then, that was the only issue we feel say the committee be need for, the whole house need for look at. But the process been very thorough, the scrutiny process. And in fact, you will be shocked now, very few position papers that we even receive. And I'm not going into specific details of certain position, Ilraj and some other. I don't want to go into specifics, you understand, but we take putting the position papers into consideration before even some of the position papers came. Because at that point, we're also thorough looking at all the issues. So I just want to correct that idea, the kind of debates maybe going to be the expected yesterday will be don't even past that day. And in fact, yesterday will be even a continuation. If supposed for even be a continuation, we'll start back because the day will be we come back again for look into this particular bill. we'll get some small electrical issues now. Well, after we don't start the process, we're around page 15. Now, in the speaker about the process, adjourn, and we'll continue back again. So with regards again, the parliament, the will be empty. We had a quorum. So if at all the quorum not been there, and in fact, any time before they begin, the deputy clerk read and say this parliament don't get a quorum and get the mandate, you know, we'll start with that's exactly what happened.
Honorable, based on the explanation we don't give, you say now over a month now, where members of parliament don't they handle this counter-terrorism act, where when I don't finally turn to law yesterday, and according to you, the parliament been get a quorum yesterday before I pass this particular act here so to law. But from waiting we seen at the clip, from your perspective as a chair for the legislative committee in a parliament, you think say the thing where we see just on that clip, the emptiness of the parliament, send a good message to the public, say the members of parliament on both aisles really glad for this kind of law?
Yes, because nothing to do on parliamentary. Let me tell you, the process been don't start long since. The debate side, we don't even pass away people and participate in the debates. Yesterday, I mean, just a continuation of a process will be don't start. Even the report was already presented. It was read, you know, it was presented. You know. So maybe because people don't just know, say, during the discussion, then the only thing will be left for incorporation, you understand? Both parties we don't agree, say, this is what is going to be incorporated. In fact, what what you believe in need for being incorporated by then, now, certain provisions from the African model on counterterrorism will all agree, say, now this will be added. After that, you know, so there were not any more changes. But the other amendments will come up. Now, me even raise and we need for add another body than the Office of Early Warning and Response Mechanism System. That was the other amendment we even put there. So, except otherwise, maybe somebody gets other expectations, but the process was simple and straightforward.
Let me come now to some of the issues then, will be arise from the very first time we government through the office of the AG introduced this bill. Firstly, now the word terrorist. Now a lot of people then get concerned from, even the opposition now, where Honorable Umfadi represents. For better understanding for viewers then, in una young term as lawmakers, waiting or who that's what they refer to as a terrorist?
Well, the viewers, they give for brace themselves, you understand, because for make I even read everything will really involve. You talk about, it's not a global and standardized definition. Terrorism not only apply to Sierra Leone, you understand, or worldwide. So, Salon not get one specific definition of terrorism, because now based on the Terrorism Convention, you understand. So, now a standard definition we they get based on what in the whole world agree say, now so a terrorist for even be defined or a terrorist act will be defined. You understand? So not to say that we use Salon definition, no. But if at all not even allow me, I go even read some of our. In fact, we even be don't pass under the Financial Intelligence Agency Act, where we also get for deal with the support to terror, financing terrorism, and also support to weapons of proliferation of weapons of mass destruction. So all of this. So this is not a Sierra Leone definition, a standard definition, a global or universal definition of a terrorist or terrorist act, where it be say countries then they will sign to, and even Salon self signed to the protocol. So not to we bring that kind of definition. It's a standard world definition.
All right, I'll bring you in, Honorable Umfa. The opposition began concern about some clause them inside this particular act. We will discuss now the 10-way BBB. First, now if somebody gather for a protest, then they refer to say na terrorist, and also it gets other clause them we talk about freedom of expression, freedom of speech, when that self get concerned about. By the time where this bill they come out from the legislative committee after they don't do all the different stages of reading, waiting on a pass yesterday, we don't turn law. Any changes happen?
Yes, like my colleague MP states, in we position paper, we make and clear say, yes, there are definitions of the word terrorism. And in the definitions of the word terrorism, words were used such as protest or fear in the public. And we also, in we debates, respective debates, we begin indications of why we concern of the word terrorism, first of all, with concerns where we've been described as terrorists as a party before. So we believe, say, we therefore make a law we responsible. But indeed, as members of parliament, now we speak to the public, we get rights and our responsibility for make laws that are responsible. Our responsibility also for make laws them where they protect the citizens them of this country. Notwithstanding, we for no say back, we serve na citizens them of the country. So sorry, I'm so sorry. Alarm, sorry. Citizens of this country. So on both sides, we recognize, and indeed, when we come with we position paper, we reference the African model law on terrorism. And in the African model law of terrorism, countries then we don't meet na Equatorial Guinea, na African nations then forget a law where we ensure say themselves they in the fight against terrorism. And as representatives of the people, or even leaders in this country, we therefore ensure say we make law them we're responsible. I've not said that day before. But I just want preface my intervention here with waiting them be talk na Malabo. Because you know say the public can see parliament sometimes when it comes to specific laws as one group that we don't go do something irresponsible. But it's very important that we guard everything we do for Salon jealously and responsibly. And in this particular law, I think say the concern was that even though we pass law, we for stand the test of time, we for pass law, we will ensure say they not target any individual. And just like you the interview the person from Kono just now, where the protests they go on there right now. If they not be, if the knowledge not be there, say the people they protest for their wage increase or for what due them, we don't turn the other way. Then for us say we not create fear, we not gather people they worry waiting they go on, we not self one create a terrorist act. So that make we say, well, if whatever we see in this bill, where the law enforcer, the law officers the see a mirror exactly what in the African say. But what you will not see there, the exceptions citizens them for protests and all that. So yes, ma'am.
Take a look at the content of the bill. Taking into consideration the African model or the situation in Sierra Leone, how you as a member of parliament go describe this particular bill where una don't agree for so? How you go describe them in Sierra Leone context?
Well, in Sierra Leone context, one thing we get for note, we live in a global village. And if we live in a global village, we have Sierra Leone in the village of countries. You get the UN, you get the AU. We get for ensure say as a nation, we definitely they up to standard when it comes to international best practice. I make up one, if you give me a chance, I want to read this one where then be put in the preamble of that African model law. In that preamble, they say, whereas terrorism in its forms and in all its forms and manifestation is an international problem and that threatens the peace, stability, security, and development of nations and can only be eradicated with the full and committed cooperation of all member states of the United Nations and the African Union. He also say back, and whereas the member states of the United Nations and African Union have solemnly reaffirmed their unequivocal condemnation of all acts, methods, and practices of terrorism as criminal and unjustifiable whenever and by whoever is committed. Yes, if government can parliament and we are responsible for not just law but responsible law context where Sierra Leone stand in the community of countries African Union and even UN don't say we for contemporize we law them, and we should not be seen as a country where they encourage terrorism, a country where will become a potential hub for terrorism. We definitely for make that law. Not for make a law, we not go put Parliament. So when we the law for all of us, because we are all under the law. We are all under the law. We're not making it selfishly, but we're making it responsibly.
So you believe, say, this Counter-Terrorism Act of 2024 now for the benefit of all Sierra Leoneans?
And for the benefit of Sierra Leone. And if it's a benefit for Sierra Leone, it will be a benefit for Sierra Leoneans. Because one thing in opposition and one thing who people can vote in, now for do something we they want. But also, similarly so, when we do something they want, it will be something we not go expose them to danger. It will be something we not go take into cognizance what in and concerns. Will be like similarly will be passed the cybercrime bill. That cybercrime bill there as a parliament and the Minister of Information and Communication. They say we take months before we pass. And we take into cognizance all the concerns them. Because we live in a space wherein something will be seen as one country, we open to any kind of thing where they happen at the world.
Is this a good law?
After they don't put the exemptions for and I think it's important for let the public they know what's in the exemptions important for let them know.
But na good law before you take it to and then a good law this?
Now law, I'm not saying a bad law. Why make I not saying a bad law? We're not for the always see things in a lens where at the end of the day, what I want for little notes. There will be a time when APC will be the ruling government. And there will be a time where APC get for preside on their specific laws in here.
So yes, a good law.
It is a good law for the country. And especially after we as an opposition do address the fact, say, the exemptions here for day.
So they're now part of this act?
They're part of the act.
What are some of the exemptions?
Okay, I will read the exemptions. They will be recommended at the time when we position paper. We did a position paper, and in that position paper, we say, if, I say, notwithstanding the current definition, because you know, say, the definition of terrorist is say, involves serious violence against persons, involves serious damage to property, endangers a person's life, and creates a serious risk to the health and safety of the public or any section of the public, involves the use of firearms or explosives. They also talk about how it involves the attack on non-combatants, which is you not get ammunition, somebody gets ammunition, the person uses against you or in the public. So we say, well, if this is not a definition of terrorism, then the one the way they exempt now the people who they gather for protest, people the way they seek self-determination, people the way want for exercising rights, industrial rights. They work and like I indicate what happen at Koidu or what happen at Koidu now. You say you want you benefit, and when I get a union and then come out and say, "Look, we talk for the people," and then people they definitely when people they talk for the livelihood, the one they represent, which is the trade union, will come. Then the one that they are being represented just will come. And if they gather in that publicly, if the definition just did that way, they say not so for that they strive for gather, then it will be a blanket say you cannot gather, you cannot protest, you cannot raise your voice, you cannot even share a publication, because this law talk about sharing publication. But the intent of you sharing that publication, the intent of you gathering, the intent of you speaking is what this law definitely get for be used for. But what thing I say is, in history in this nation, we get people who don't misuse their authority. In the history of this nation, we get people who don't misuse position they give them. So if this law is misused, then it will be a bad law. But if its law is used as it's written, black and white, then it is not a bad law.
We'll bring in Honorable Mario Conte, when the chairman for the Legislative Committee. People like Chernobyl of the African Express hold a contrary view to this bill, unlike Honorable Omfa Soriko we say na a very good law for them if the government don't misuse them. Chernobyl, I beg your pardon, believes say this is a very dangerous law where they tighten the space, especially with campaign freedom of expression, the right to protest, human rights of citizens.
We entitled to our own opinions, but we're not entitled to our own facts. Facts na fact. And a very clear way, my colleague starts with the preamble of the Malabo summit on this particular one. Terrorism is international. It cuts across. So when people get their own way with the filthy terrorism laws therefore be shaped, well, not their opinion. We can't take that away from them. But make I just make something clear. Make I just maybe buttress within Honorable Mfa talk about in terms of the exceptions. Even though, because you get right for protest, for industrial action, but if you do them with the intention, okay, for understanding, if you do that, you protest, you do them with the intention for cause some certain damage to property and everything, you understand, you also fall within the law. You get right for protest. I don't know understand what I mean.
So you know the intention.
Yeah.
Fine. If you get right for protest, like that's why they protest. They grab, you go begin damage property. You understand, not to forgo damage
so
property.
So they consider you as a terrorist.
Absolutely, you understand. It's something when you they protest, how you they connect protesting and damaging property. Protesting, you understand, self-determination for cause serious bodily harm. You understand? It's just like, I'll give an example. You have workers here, you understand, protesting for their salaries.
Right.
Then all of a sudden, they storm inside here, they begin to point cameras. It's something different. It's gone beyond protest.
So in that scenario, the way they give,
them go look at.
That scenario, the way they give Honorable, in this case, if then kind of thing happen, who that's then the whole responsible? Is it the person will go seek clearance for the protest, or the one that will go catch in the action?
Well, the investigation will prove that Uda will be directly responsible, but they must start with the person who seek clearance. Say, now this should be say, when they go do, you understand what happened. So the investigation therefore determine all of that. But it must start first. There is no way you go meet somebody first with nothing. They start first with what we can seek clearance. Say, was this the intended purpose? So these are some of the things we really get forget. Say, oh, say for freedom for protest, but there are limitations. There are limitations. You understand? We get for be guided. They also need safeguards within the law. So, like I say, in fact, Sierra Leone maybe will not see most of that part yet of terrorism and will not wish for SIA. But it's very serious. We don't try for. So, even this one thing about this law, yeah. No disrespect, but I feel say they don't try for put too much sensation into it. And they don't hyper insert. Now, one of the most simple and straightforward laws they would ever deal with. Because we don't need for going grab things then for coming. African countries, and they're all taking their own different context into consideration. Say, yes, this not affect you in certain regions, in the Sahel region and all other regions then. Well, this is not a universal problem. Let we come together. Let we come put to ideas then for see how this go. So, trust me, not too much thinking go into this one before it finally come out. Then just need for adapt this particular one to your own circumstance with slightest modification.
So all of them opinion or perception, if I can say, where people only write about this particular law, the same way it be day before now for us as a bill when they go through and critically. Organization is send position paper where they write things the way they feel say it really scary. Una try for na homo well as MP them for ensure say the people who they represent the parliament, their voices then be heard.
I'll tell you, say this is one of the most liberal legislative committees that will ever exist in the politics of Sierra Leone. The 5th and the 6th Parliament. First of all, whenever they gazette a bill, then they gazette a bill for let the public get an opportunity for make the valuable input into the whole process. In fact, what happened, this bill then first gazetted in June 2024. June 2024. Enough time for whosoever the monitor governance issues. But what I say, no disrespect again to most of the monitor governance issue. Only when something kind of parliamentary come up, now the attention they run to them. So me at the appeal with una today, those way they do them. From time to time, una they check na the government bookshop and see bills the way they come up. Una way they of in una own interest and in the public interest. Let una see let una make valuable input on time. In fact, when you can go through that, now sometimes with the advice of the speaker and even the committee safe, now we can put out a notice say, because we want to give people more opportunity. Sometimes we can even allow people into this kind of discussions, make them go make their own input. So we they even ask for position papers. We don't do them sometimes without number. So why would they ask for them? For me, we get an alternative view. And I don't even again I be say I don't go into the issue where maybe Slash come up with. You understand? Now you should get for those clause 21 and 22 already covered in the cyber law will not be even needed, and so it was automatically expunged. Clauses 21 and 22 one get for those publication and the other distribution thing, information on the internet. So even before the slide position paper came, the committee already through your own vigorous scrutiny process, we already deal with them. And some other issues, most of the things that will come, someone say, oh, in fact, they're not even providing alternative provisions. This is broad, this is vague, the definition of the... So now I said, one way most of the position people they get in common, the definition of a terrorist act, we not to we provide them, not to we coin them. Now the African model of terrorism. So you just try for it. So the key thing will happen now the adding of the exceptions. Or even the exceptions, there is also guidance, because you understand, when you foresee now, oh, I get rights for protest, you understand? But again, now within certain conditions. If that protest one escalates to something else, you understand, the protest deviate from what in the protest where they call for, then action must be taken. Then now the investigation now will prove or determine whether it is a terrorist act or not.
Honorable, earlier you make mention of intention. Among every other things in the world, why now Salon decide to adopt this?
Well, if in fact Salon don't they work on this for the not to the very first thing this, not to even under this government, is that so much effort have been done, even from previous government for work on this one. They've been done the work on this counter-terrorism legislation for quite a long time. Now it just finally reached Parliament. Like so many other laws will be say the foundation will be done. So it's now, in fact, as even a member of the Defense Committee, a couple of times we don't go on oversight, or they ask the Office of National Security. In fact, to what you may even recall, Office of National Security, we don't get 3 different meetings by then for 3 different years where they say they still they work on this one. So now it just passed, but then believe that it has been in
so the question is why now? Because already if you go to the public, you ask, they will already tell you some people going for protest, be it peaceful, whether they get intention or not. It's difficult for the Sierra Leone police permit them to protest. So the question is why now? Okay. Why not now we see don't go through Parliament?
Also with your question, why not now? Because you understand, terrorism is clearly evident. Now, like climate change is affecting us every now and then. So you understand, why not now? For joining the global village. Trust me, Sierra Leone is also making serious progress in terms of laws. You understand? In fact, it's long overdue. If you check when them is, you don't know Malabo, and up till now, it's long overdue.
So whose importance this gets to Sierra Leoneans then?
Of course, would they join the rest of the world for maintaining international peace? First of all, it's not only Sierra Leoneans, in fact, even the region. Because somebody will even they try for perpetuate, some terrorist activities them, for try for even affect the region. So not only Sierra Leoneans, but the region as a whole. Like I say, we're a part of the global village and will also make meaningful and valuable contribution towards international peace. Now, IMEC will set up this particular law, where they make provision for the Counter-Terrorism Committee, the Counter-Terrorism Coordination Committee, the Counter-Terrorism Fusion Center, and the Counter-Terrorism Liaison Officers there. We all get for work towards the policy aspect, the coordination aspect, and of course, the operational aspect of dealing with terrorism, offenses, and penalties, and other related matters.
When they look at this issue, we get to do with the Counter-Terrorism Act, so they discuss the significance of to Salon, especially where it be senating, where other countries them, according to the members of parliament and don't implement for a very long time. But now Salon don't particularly take this particular law. Let come to you, Honorable Umfa. As we talk about the significance of this particular law, you don't make mention in a good law, taking into consideration the concerns that will come from the public. You say only the members of parliament and don't adopt them. When they come to you quickly, if we can talk about what to make it important at this time. But let me just go on the line and talk to the president for the Sierra Leone Association of Journalists, SLAJ. As we've been saying earlier, now one of the body them this we've been put a position paper for this whole law. Well, we see parliament on pass them yesterday. We won't forget updates from the Salon Association of Journalists, SLAJ, and we get Ahmed Said Nazgala on the phone now for let we hear from them whether or not them position the change where parliament don't pass this particular law. Good morning and welcome to the breakfast show, Mr. Nazgala.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning. Thank you for having me this morning.
Like I tell the viewers, them just know, SLAJ gets a whole position on this whole act where parliament don't agree for yesterday. Firstly, we just know waiting at the position of SLAJ as parliament don't pass the law already.
Well, they don't pass the law, yes, we know, and we also know say we submit the position very late. We do in talks with the chairman of the legislative committee, and with respect to what we said earlier, but we lost them back and forth, and so we get the opportunity to consider on the eve of the day where they proceed and do the third reading. But if we acknowledge them and say most they will get, they don't already address them. So yes, we see it. We not give up it because we consider them legitimate, and we look forward to because we get a small window. We'll, after they don't do this, they don't pass it out. They get for do the amendment them, and put them together and go print them before they go to HE for they design. So we use that opportunity to watch the final document and see we still get concerns with them. Then we take a case to HE for the listen to concerns and shall say the final document not get anything will undermine press freedom and free expression as well.
Waiting at this position where SLAJ gets for the benefits of the one them we not see them yet. Waiting on a concern them about this law.
Well, we concern not different from what will be the concerns that will be get from that cyber security law. All the lawyers will not against the laws, will not against the law, will not against the terrorism and law where they don't pass because every country they forget them help to fight national security and the illicit financing them. But we concern them sections they work in DD, some sections they will get the potential for they undermine press freedom and people in rights for express themselves freely. And people looking inside government. They sabi use them, they section they are, but target people with the say now people are very critical to the government and also critical on national issues there. And of course, I know they're not going to go through all the sections that both also pick up today and they have a Facebook page. But then of course, the sections they will be say vague and not defined and they want to now look the wording authority use for silence and would they decided.
Mr. Nazgala, today with the chairman for the legislative committee in the studio now. Earlier, he make mention say even before na drawing attention to some of them clause there, so na facing a threat to press freedom on their own as a committee. We don't already expunge some of them clause there because they exist now the Cyber Security Act, and according to they take into consideration all una concern them. Yesterday they don't pass this act. Una don't able for go back to una lawyer them for try for see if really waiting the chairman tell you then do am.
Well, I have to tell the chairman thank you because from where they begin discussions here, me in constant engagement. I don't say we get concerned, we want to put the project together, but this is not law. We, the journalists, we not lawyers there, but fortunately we will get people within the active when lawyers there, and we get a legal team who they look at them, and let them take the time and go through and see that inside there for police statement and send out to them. Yes, actually say most of the concerns they don't take them on board. But we're not going to know right now what's in the final document. First we get the final documents, and now I talked to the clerk officers that they see the put them together. The committee, they put all the amendments together, what they don't amend, and the final document now, so we get access to that one day, same way they go down. I'm going to know if they did it or another day. Like I say, if the other day, we still get reason for lobby and for advocates for change subsection them, then we get small window of opportunity, and we'll each get receive the document for sign up. And we will say we'll able to engage the HE office because that will be kind of as champion of free speech. And like I say, you're not going to sign any document who undermine freedom of expression and freedom of the media nationally.
Yesterday, during the term where Parliament's been just passed this particular act, one advocate where they don't use in social media platform them for talk about how dangerous this particular act be if it happen for turn law. Nacherno Bar of the African Express, the colleague journalist as well, being question / the role and position where he say una not take serious attention in some of them dangers there where they inside this particular act.
When I tell you, your opinion, your opinion, we argue with them. We know what they do, and we get lawyers them. We lawyers they don't put questions together with us and to Parliament, and we engage with Parliament. We get a relationship with Parliament, and also get a relationship with the President in office. And so when they look at them, political opportunities there for interest, the final document, we each get for sign. We don't get any issue with that.
Quickly, before you left with Mr. President, you don't define the chairman for the Legislative Committee as being very responsive from the time when I start the conversation for put to some of the things them where you feel say na a threat to press freedom. And now on a late for send on a position paper, by the time they send Parliament don't agree for this particular bill, it don't turn act. What if you get hold of the final document, you lawyers them, the interpreter to / still get a concern? You optimistic say the committee go give a window for your
That's the committee again. You know, so where the process where they don't Parliament do they enact the law. They enact now then they put together now all the amendments they don't say they don't amend. Everybody at the final document. If you look at the bill now, the bill right now, the original one we will get all the problem they will say we get the document. Now they don't pass them in light of the amendment they will get for big. So now it don't come on Parliament here now. Parliament all get 24 now for put them together the final document and send them for printing and put on the government bookshop. So now they will go get now because that period now you get from for go to HE. That period now we look after. But we can still talk yes, HE get the power for send go back to my Parliament. And so now go looking for any concerns here. Sludge and other organizations, I guess small concerns for this year. I watch them and see and engage them.
So if it happen that way, the optimistic say the committee will be responsive. As you don't say they don't be responsive.
I'm always optimistic. I'm always optimistic. And Parliament is not to foreign lady. Not a lot of people in the day. Now we elected parliamentarians there, and then those they have the big suit. We're not for the Parliament forever. It can affect if they put it in bad day, and not to know it affect to not affect journalism. It affects everybody because when you come on a Parliament, you can be ordinary person. Definitely, they don't say that you want to express your opinion on critically against government or against nationalism. Then it gives them to hold you. So I'm not saying they're responsible enough and honorable enough for interest. Say whatever the other, it only they protect the one who do right now, but also for the two they get for left power.
All right, many thanks, Ahmed Sahid Nasgala, where you talked to me this morning and state in position for SECA the Counter-Terrorism Act to Parliament passed yesterday.
Thank you.
All right, that's now the president for the Salon Association of Journalists, Ahmed Sahid Nasgala, then be send a position paper to the Legislative Committee, but as soon as reform and then late for send this position paper. And yesterday, Parliament don't pass this particular bill to law.
They discuss this and the public gets a lot of misconception about this particular act. It's been originally been going to Parliament, so we get to do with some issues, we get to do with certain definitions and certain clauses where according to one of the members of Parliament wanna be ensured so wanna do justice to them concerns and the way the public been gets. How you go describe insignificance at this stage?
At this stage really, first of all, I want to go a little bit on the concerns the public be get. I think saying I knock on the security apparatus then, because historically, the security apparatus have been seen to be taking orders from above, irrespective of which government they're in governance. And sometimes when they do that, they break the law. Because I remember one time I be doing my mama during an elections when they beat up on me, and that was under the 2 IGs before this IG Sovula. And in the beating up of me, the officer actually say, now member of parliament, now the member of parliament this. So we know say terms and they misuse law, and are then suspicions and the public gets, and then suspicions and they then public get. Now I make when laws like this they come up, all the worry say it is a bad law. You asked me a question about whether the law is good, and I said it's good because I think say na essential law, because we need for contemporize with country laws them with other in the global society with other countries them. So the essence of this law, what you get for understand is one, government because this bill, and the chairman denier then give you all the indications, will raise all the concerns in the first and second reading, especially the second reading will be the debate. But of course, we go back to the drawing board and say exceptions for day. And indeed, the government's bench and the government and the government bench listen to the exceptions and they. So now we get this law where indeed they protect people their right to self-determination. But what you get for be concerned, and this message will go to the police, particularly because they are the enforcers of the law. Let them get for no say where the law they not misuse the law. Number one, when somebody want to come out for protest, they take permission. But indeed, so many times people in permission they seek, they need a grantor for protest. But of course, during time they protest back, we get unscrupulous entities who can come and join the protest, who can create the damage. So I think it's very important for law get a professional force, who for identify the unscrupulous entities versus the people who organize the protest, and also what for ensure say the greater and necessary protection of people who they give the protest. Because if they cover the area outside the protest, they say, okay, you have a permission to assemble here. For ensure say outside the people they are assembled for protest, they are protected. And let's say now workers they want protest. If you know to worker, you know for the parts of this protest here. Let's say, okay, activists they want protest. If you know to activists, you know for the parts of this protest. Because sometimes people can use the moments where protest day for can do the other thing, for go broke people in shop, for go rob them businessman the way, not them business for do it within they go on. We can see as they say protest all man lock in shop. So indeed, I think it's important that the security apparatus become more professional under the leadership they get now, Juselu, and that them and moving forward, and that when they get their responsibility, they use them as opportunity for use unnecessary force on people where they try for exercise their civic right and responsibility. So I think that's the message really that the suspicion on the security apparatus and the suspicion on operatives who can use opportunities because they get authority for misuse their law there. And at the end of the day, victims people can become victims of their actions here.
So based on waiting, you know, say they inside waiting on all seem for don't agree for na parliament. You assure the public say they are secured in terms of protesting. Then we'll get that freedom day for protest and enough for scared based on waiting they inside this law. Clearly,
and also it's also a reminder that as a nation, we will not be seen as a nation we get the potential for harbor terrorists. What you get for notes? We have a country where 75% of the people are unemployed. People that commit their activities and get a lot of money on their hands. So if they all can as alone and say this is not a country will not get laws in the here, then we as citizens know say we will not get law in the issues there. It's possible to one mama in house say we want you picking for go do this for we. Will they give you $1,000? Will they give you $10,000? So tell the mommy or the papa no want to see this kind of money. They encourage him picking for go do the thing. Look other nations where they talk about where people where you get suicide bombers. They offer money actually to the families. Say can give you picking, let go do this here. You know, when they give this money, something all your lifetime, not ever give $100,000. Give Pekin, give you Pekin, will you give $100,000? The Pekin self, sometimes a day in a life where you don't see any future for himself, he say, okay, I they go bomb people them. When I give me the bomb, I they go kill them. Once I don't left $100,000 for me people them. So that make it important that as a nation, we'll get a lawyer, and we as responsible opposition will also condemn all things. But we'll go for sure say there are safeguards. Now make in we own press statement, we'll give them safeguards and we will thankfully the government bench take their safeguards into consideration, and we get a law will fit for purpose.
Before we come to Honorable Marie, not just take messages from the viewers, then they will come now to you, will respond, because most of the messages then they come for you. The first one they take now from Facebook, it come out from Victor Akomengot. He say there are various bodies and committees that will be tasked to carry out the and implement the clauses in this act. The main challenges are coordination, collaboration, and chain of command. Providing necessary finance and technical personnel is also another cause for concern.
All right, to look at more messages, the very first one from the YouTube channel, they come out from Eric Johnson. He say, I hope say this new counter-terrorism law not therefore give innocent citizens a problem, because we all know the kind country where we dey.
Harry Williams, they say a violent protest is not automatically classified as a terrorist act, but it can be considered terrorism under certain conditions. The distinction depends on factors like intent, targets, and objective.
It is Olema Jalo say, what the act? How does the act strengthen law and ability to combat terrorism?
Kamara Suleiman on Facebook, they say the most dangerous thing about this law is the overreaction to pose a threat to human rights defenders, activists, as well as members of marginalized groups and others wrongly accused of terrorism by granting the government excessive and unchecked powers and being susceptible to arbitrary and enforcement.
This other message say, how will the acts affect border security and immigration policies?
Abdullah B. Lukule, they say counter-terrorism measures in Sierra Leone have far-reaching implications. Nevertheless, the primary concern persists that certain provisions remain in place, enabling the government to arrest and detain individuals who protest against the government or express their grievances. I hope that APC party members in Parliament thoroughly reviewed the bill and gave a comprehensive understanding.
This one from Brahma Kane is saying, now that it has become law, I presume that there should be an anti-terrorism wing of the Ceylon Police and the SLA.
This one, they say, who determines the intent that is used to define the terrorist intention?
Isaba, they ask, but Monk, why did your legal team waste time to review the documents? Payment issues or what?
All right, this from Fode Mustafa Toure, they say, with all the problems facing the country, a terrorism bill is much more important to the president and parliament. These people have different priorities compared to those of the citizens. Several laws have been made to appease the donor partners like criminal libel, death penalty, women's bill, etc. Instead of focusing on providing drinking water, food, and medicine, the donor partners are only interested in the welfare of the people.
This final one, when we go read, Kamara Sulaiman say the most dangerous thing about the law is the overreaction to pose a threat to human rights defenders, activists, as well as members of marginalized groups and other wrongly accused of terrorism by granting the government excessive arbitrary to disciplinary enforcement.
The last one we go take, they come up from Samuel Y. Cisse. He say, hearing the individual supposedly to be seeking the interest of the general public discussing the topics referencing Malabo, why can't they reference other laws across Africa that deals with the livelihood of the suffering masses, the right to basic necessity, for someone to buy a prepaid credit for his or her meter and could not get the service, and foodstuff gets perished how could that not be a violation of rights? Well, from the messages they come to Honorable Mare. There you go, start for respond, then later come to Honorable Umfa.
You know, I know they smile out of disrespect, you understand, that just the surprise, the kind of interest anyway towards this very last moment. I wish we would generate that kind of interest on so many of the issues, and then they'll try to get a genuine exchange. Victor May got you they deal with that, you know, in terms of the different bodies. We'll get different layers then. The National Security and National Terrorism Committee, of course, they deal with things at the policy level. The Counter-Terrorism Coordination Committee, of course, now the thing and the way he mentions the coordination, therefore the coordination aspect. Then you get the Fusion Center with the operationalization aspect, of course, an extension of that. Now the liaison officers then. So it's very clear that the parties that come together for national security, they all get for the coordinate and collaborate for make sure say we'll get to one grand institution for terrorism. So the Act make provision for that particular collaboration. So we just the hope say, and we'll say through oversight responsibility for follow-up and make sure say the relevant coordination and collaboration take place. Then somebody talk about violent protest, not all violent protests. You understand? We could look at go view them as terrorism or terrorist acts. Now, it make earlier on a talk say investigation will even determine that. Then apart from that, the definition of a terrorist act, it gets so many parameters what the person self-mentioned. So if then try for look at some of them, the intention of it. If at all you go protest, but you ain't protest, now the intention of go cause bodily harm, damage to property, then it meets some kind of parameters, you know, so we fall under the definition of a terrorist. We'll talk about for affect whether it will affect how this will affect border and security. Obviously, we'll get for be robust in with it because terrorism, say not global thing. Earlier on, I say not only Salon no more. Some man will even one can base now for even operate within the region. So the fact that we try for join the wall for make sure say we'll get a peaceful world, then we'll have to for tied up with security apparatus. Then of course Ulema Tujalo talk about the law enforcement aspect. Yes, relevant training will be provided for all the one that will concern, because this terrorism again global, it's not new, but then we'll get for make sure say people don't get the special savvy with them for adult terrorist activities. And who determines intent? Of course, now investigation will get for determining that. So all man get for getting right for defending self when the time reach for try for sure say, oh, I go for go protest, my intention not for go damage property. But then, as of course, with the defense we will clear that. Somebody talk about the human rights aspect. Why should they go reference Malabo? But then why not? Not so we just grab. It's the African model. All the issues here in a place where in the Alpha human rights they not be addressed. Human rights issues not be addressed. It could even lead. It could create like an enabling environment there for terrorism thrives. But again, when you get that kind of law, it will try to suppress any other kind of intention, whether they plan for doing or whether they even attempt for doing. So I believe say the concerns then genuine, and the law don't come into effect, will also will make sure say in oversight responsibility as a parliament to go follow up with the relevant bodies with tasked with the responsibility of putting terrorism issues under control for make sure say they roll out this particular law the way it will be. We have no perfect laws, we have no perfect people in them positions here, but now collective responsibility as a nation for make us support the powers that be, and those who are responsible for make sure say they roll out in the interest of the people.
All right, so that's the Honorable Umfa.
Well, me take cognizance more of the person with the issues about the human rights issues. And of course, as an opposition, we've raised concern about those human rights issues. When you get for do with tariffs, them by mobile companies, when you get for do with ETSA, electricity, we get for do with casualties them because of lack of electricity, we get for do with government providing essential services for the people. And I think that there are ongoing discourse we will get. Ongoing discourse, especially what they get as opposition, ongoing discourse what they get in the monthly press conferences, and we put pressure on government to ensure say they meet the standard when you get for do with catering for the welfare of the people. Then an ongoing fight, and it not will stop. But we said they call on government for do more and for do better.
This particular law timely?
Well, in contemporizing us with global with global best practice, and being that as countries in this global village, the African model law been on this since 2011. Then we're talking about it 14 years later, I think say it is time for let's Sierra Leone do their own part of it.
You think so if now the All People's Congress APC party been there in administration at this time, una for don't agree for this law right now?
If now we in a power, we supposed for do it here. But of course we will get concern just like how we get concerns now. And definitely I should say we'll get concerns from the oppositions and back at the time for say the lawyer will not want the rights now because the suspicion they and the concern they say people then go misuse the law for targets especially where the opposition where even at some point the president will not label say they not specify say we get specific terrorist group them within. They just say people in the opposition are terrorists. That blanket statement there, you will be concerned say, okay, government not going to be responsible for handling well, or it could be used for target the opposition. We made that a very clear way the debate say, we will ensure say this law not be used, they not use this law for target the opposition. But all are the suspicion, because when you go to states where government were more responsible, where laws and this come up, people in there is too much concern. They happy say yes, government not do this for protect we the citizens there. But in Sierra Leone, because we misuse, every authority will get people. Even one person in our office, he misuse an authority, going get over everybody else in the office. Now make they get them concerned. So it's very important for us not say as people of this nation, we need for reset and see how we do things and different. We're not for they copy all the bad things in other countries, for copy the good examples the way other citizens of other nations they set. If we do that, then we'll get a better salon.
Honorable Marie Conte, how true is it that most of them be there so we una member of parliament them, especially when I can come into agreement, because it clearly shows say both the ruling and the opposition they speak with one voice now. We can pass this Counter-Terrorism Act of 2025. Most of them can be influenced by donor funding them. Is it true?
Not to my knowledge. Only that you understand. Obviously, you can get parties then like if you talk about child rights, for example, you must get UNICEF and other issues where now they will interest area they will be keen for making them know exactly what it happened. But at the end of the day, now Parliament they vote and take a decision. There is nothing wrong about people being interested. You understand? You get UN women, you get all these particular groups. So we always deal with them in the governance space. But then again, Parliament gets your own mandate for make sure so we pass laws them in the interest of our people. So that we always get forget some. But now how we really manage them. Sierra Leone and independent state, we get for do what we're supposed to do, and we are representatives of the people. And I make the debate the issue here and make sure say we'll take decisions that will go reflect the interest of our people. Of course, it's a natural thing.
Before you left way, for the one that we still hold on to this fear perception, say this is a very dangerous law. We will go against people in human rights. We will seize the rights to protest, and also we will be a threat to press freedom. Speak to them now and allay them fear say nothing like that, no the inside this particular law they discuss.
Well, okay, I will do that. I'd already do that earlier on. The legislative committee itself take into consideration every other person in concern. The scrutiny been very thorough. Like I say, even some of the issues then in we own conscience as representatives of the people, before the arrival of any other position paper, we'll make sure we'll take them into consideration. So again, now just that kind of assurance there they give. Most of the issues where I feel say they be raised in terms of how vague or broad the definition of a terrorist act is, we don't try to provide a safeguard by incorporating the exceptions to them. The rest will be determined by investigation. You understand? But the exception only not to all kind gathering and will say now a terrorist act. Then they're very clear. Clauses 21 and 22 will get something with publication and also distributed information via the internet way. I'm sure now be the concern that they of major concern of a sludge, and some other people, then they all in fact will automatically expunge them. So all the other areas, again, I talked earlier, say we know they get a perfect law, but the law we don't put together, we strongly believe, say, both parties, the parliament as a whole, we strongly believe, say, it reflects the interest of the people, and The intention not to make bad law for anybody, because there is not even a bad law. Any law will come now responsibility for fine tuner. This law now for make sure say we join the queue and be part of the international peace order of the world, and for make sure say people then live in an environment who decide they will feel safe and ready for make meaningful contribution to national development.
All right, many thanks for joining me at the studio this morning. Honorable Abdulmari Conte, we are the chairman for the Legislative Committee in the Parliament, and also Honorable Onfajiko Ma, we are the parliamentary spokesperson for the opposition. Then be there with me this morning, we don't discuss some of the issues them we been come out before yesterday. Parliament been finally passed the Counter-Terrorism Act of 2025 to law. Well, you don't hear from both parties. They say a very good law, and nothing no they will go against the citizens' their human rights. Nothing no they will go be threats to press freedom, and also nothing no they will go protect or we go stop the rights to protest by citizens. Then, well, that Liberty TV they for educate, inform, especially making camp and critical issues. They bring both parties for let them go can explain. Now they're in the breakfast show for today. Princess Pias.
Hello, me family. This na Baba Sheikh, the people them defender and political offender with the program do don't clean.
This not just up for music, sweet music production. Do don't clean up. I did program this, where they educate you. Do don't clean up. I did program this, where they inform you. Do don't clean up. I did program this, where they entertain you. Do don't clean, do don't clean, do don't clean. I did program this, do don't clean, do don't clean. I say this program not for me and you, because it entertain you. This program had to inform you. It entertain you. Oh yeah. This program had to inform you. Yes, it inform you. All the daily things them where they happen in our country. Baba Sheikh there for inform you. All the daily happenings where they go on our country. Baba Sheikh just entertain you. Tell me say Kokoriyoko. Before long go, so you have to wake up. Tell me say Kokoriyoko. Wake up, wake up. For wake up, wake up, wake up. I say this program damn too nice. It entertaining from you too. Baba Sheikh keep program damn too nice. Oh, it entertain me. Do don't clean up. I did program this, where they educate you. Do don't clean up. I did program this.